Mini golf. It's like golf, but smaller and more affordable and fuel efficient. Get started today for $99,999.99. Hi, I'm Torin, and welcome to Torin Loves the Simpsons. Today we are looking at Season 2, Episode 6, Dead Putting Society, an episode where Homer enters a bet with Ned Flanders over whose son will win a mini-golf tournament. Let's dive on in. With regards to the humor, this episode is very much good, not great. We're starting to fall back into the more lethargic pacing that pervaded Season 1, with a lot of dull stretches. We have some nice moments interspersed. I'm particularly amenable to Bart trying to name his putter Mr. Putter, but there are otherwise few moments I find memorable. This episode is notable for a lot of Flanders-related stuff that I'll get to in a minute, but humor-wise, this episode introduced the running gag of Ned calling Reverend Lovejoy over trivial concerns, and it's a nice touch that they introduced it on the note of Ned calling in the middle of the night. We're jumping right to the heart of how unbearable Ned's calls are for Reverend Lovejoy. But really, there's just not a whole lot to talk about with regards to this episode's humor. The episode is filled with long stretches of boring, with occasional A and B tier jokes, but nothing to write home about, even on a slow day. I'm giving this episode's humor a B-. When it comes to the plot, this episode's greatest strengths are in how much it develops the Flanders family. First, let's look at Ned himself. As discussed previously, this episode introduced the running gag where he calls Reverend Lovejoy at the drop of a hat. And the episode overall helps move Flanders towards his final characterization. We still aren't seeing the religious zeal that he'd go on to become famous for, but there are hints such as Ned greeting Homer with, "The Lord has given us a beautiful day," and when the Flanders family prays together before the match. But mostly, we're exploring Ned's meekness in this episode. We've previously seen him take Homer's rudeness with good nature in The Call of the Simpsons, and I'm actually not quite sure how to interpret the Homer-Ned scene in Dancin' Homer, because with the context of later episodes, I get the feeling Ned was trying to confront Homer for selling stuff he borrowed from Ned, and the way the scene is voiced and portrayed, it seems like that's what they were going for. But if so, they didn't flesh it out nearly enough. But all that is to say that we haven't really seen a whole lot of Ned's personality, so things like inviting Homer over for a beer and writing an apology letter and initially trying to resist Homer's goading all really help establish Ned's friendliness and good nature and abject fear of rocking the boat, while moments like him offering crabgrass poison to Homer help demonstrate how sometimes he is a bit backhanded, whether he intends it or not. Later on, when his hyper-Christian side is established, he could often be described as having a holier-than-thou attitude. And the most plot-significant example of this is probably Home Sweet Home Diddly-Dum-Doodly in Season 7. So while we're still missing his intensely devout side, the other major aspects of Ned's personality are all pretty well established in this episode. As for the rest of the Flanders family, this episode is notable for several things. First, this is Maud's first appearance ever, though her name is not mentioned in the episode at all. This is also the first time we see Rod and Todd together to confirm that Ned does indeed have two kids, which was strongly hinted at during Season 1 but never confirmed, though Rod remains as nameless as his mother at this point. But on that note, this is the first mention of Todd's name. Todd's voice is still a work in progress, but it's getting closer. So this episode is certainly a big breakout for the Flanders family as a whole, not just Ned. And to segue into actually reviewing the plot of this episode, I really like how Ned asking for the wording of the contract to read "the boy who doesn't win" rather than "loser" is both a great character establishing example of Ned's kind nature, and also a nice plot device to come back up at the end as one of those cohesive plots the nerds are always talking about. It's a pretty cool callback, and it's key to the twist ending, which I consider to be one of the episode's strengths. I think it's particularly delightful how quickly and matter-of-factly Todd agrees to Bart's offer to call it a draw. It's a nice anticlimax. But getting there, in my opinion, falls flat in what it's aiming to achieve. It feels like Act 3 is going for the intensity of the Act 3 of Bart the General, and it doesn't stand up. I think this episode just kind of fails to bring much of an emotional core to Bart's perspective. While Homer is most definitely being a gigantic piece of shit with his threats to disown Bart, it's mostly played as not that big of a deal, other than the Act 1 ending. Bart's real struggle is portrayed as being to win at mini-golf, not to keep his father's love. Whereas in Bart the General, the entire episode is built around Bart either getting bullied or reeling from the psychological effects of being bullied. So there's much more of a focus on his turmoil, and the intensity and sense of escalation of that episode's Act 3 feels a lot more meaningful and connected with the rest of the episode. In this episode, the attempt at intensity is built around Homer's threats to disown Bart, something that in reality would be pretty traumatizing, but which doesn't seem to have much of an impact on Bart. Or at least that impact really doesn't get much screen time, so it doesn't mean anything to us, the viewers. This results in an Act 3 that really doesn't have much of a foundation, so it doesn't hit as hard. This episode also doesn't have the same kind of musical support as Bart the General, which, to reiterate from that review, is a huge component of how that episode's Act 3 escalates. Speaking of music, this episode's music was directed by one Ray Colcord, one of the rotating cast from before Alf Clausen fully took over the role. This episode's soundtrack is pretty good, despite me having just compared it unfavorably to Bart the General. The flute music does a great job of accompanying the scenes where Lisa is teaching Zen to Bart, and where Bart enters a Zen state. Or Zen-like. I only did cursory research to decide that this appears to be Zen. The episode does feel different from either a Season 1 Richard Gibbs episode or an Alf Clausen episode, but it all certainly works well. One moment I really like in this episode is when Lisa takes Bart to the library. It's so heartwarming to see Lisa in her element and with people she really vibes with after seeing Lisa struggle in her social life in so many later episodes. She's a major part of the show's emotional appeal, so it's important to see Lisa happy and relaxed from time to time. So while I don't think this episode does anything particularly great, there are certainly enough nice features to the plot that I'll give it a B+. And now for the final rating. We have a B- for humor and a B+ for plot, and a B overall sounds just right. This episode is good, not great, and if the season so far is any indicator, and spoiler warning, I think it is, this episode will probably turn out to be one of the weaker episodes of Season 2. I am more than happy with that. Thank you so much for watching. I've been seeing some great discussion in the comments on my videos, and I love it. Please don't hesitate to let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to click on that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you get notifications. Up next, we'll be reviewing Bart vs. Thanksgiving, so I will see you in that video.